We're recording? All right. We got a good amount of questions today. Hey, in all fairness, I have not read them. We got, hey, bigger things going on right now. Hi. Bigger things going on right now. Distractions out there. A lot of dogs. How many dogs do we have here? 11. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 11 dogs. So cool. Cut it out. 11 dogs. Only 3 are on leash. All in place. Julieta is snoring. And we're going to get into the show here. That was a total Gary V. And we're going to get into the show here. All right, guys, I'm going to keep it real with you. Episode 18, lots of dogs here. Let's just get right into it. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Blake Rodriguez with Dream Come True K9, and this is episode 18 of Dog Behavior Question Tuesday. I still have yet to read the questions, so I cannot tell you what we're getting into on this show, but let's get into it. K.A. Budgirl, what is the best way to introduce a kitten to a 2-dog home? I've got 1 dog on board, except she isn't sure whose side to be on when the excited dog comes into our room. Bingo, right there. Dog barks, kitten hisses, chaos. I have the dog on leash and I'm scared she will hurt the kitten thinking it's a toy. Well, first off, the big problem is not, well, the big one is your dog that comes into the room excited. Stop letting your dog come into that room excited. Get that dog on leash, work on duration exercises, work on place, get that dog used to being able to see movement. If the cat is too much right now, get your dog to simply hold a place while you're working another dog. Working another dog could be working the dog for food. Working another dog could be simply calling one dog over and giving affection while you got to keep your ass over there, right? Like, stop being nosy, stop being rude. I'm going to get to you next, right? Get to that point. Get to the point where your dog can hold a place when you go to the bathroom, when you're doing this, when you're doing that, you're getting up to make your peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Get to that point and you'll be good. Because as far as a kitten, you treat that no differently than you would a baby, right? This kitten is priority. Before you learn to play or get along, which you may or may not do, you're going to learn to coexist. You're going to learn to respect this creature, whether it's a baby or not, first. When this thing is around, you behave respectfully. I'm not trying to get you to play. I'm not going to force that. That is the first precedent that you set. Can't really train the cat, or if you can, maybe you got to call that crazy guy. What's his name? The cat whisperer. Is that his real name, Galaxy? Dude, he's watching the show right now. Is that your real name? He's not watching the show. Galaxy Jackson. If that is a stage name, it's a horrible stage name, but I can't focus on a kitten. I can't focus on what you can do with your dogs. Let the kitten be a kitten as long as it's not nagging. Let the kitten know that it doesn't have to worry about these dogs. That's your job. Have them hold a place. For periods, it could be a month until the dog knows, oh, when I see the cat, I don't do anything. This is boring. When that comes around, that's a state of mind that you release the dog in because he knows better. You must be relevant if you want it to work out between the cat and the dogs. All right? MPBH, we adopted a 2-year Esky who barks aggressively at the window or front door when strangers come. Any suggestions or tactics to adjust his behavior? Yes. Barking, you might be able to adjust a little bit later. You need to focus on state of mind. If your dog is barking aggressively at the window, why are you allowing your dog to even be at that window? Doesn't necessarily mean confining your dog and putting your dog away. Teach your dog to hold a place no matter what, right? So, the studying for this. I put food down no matter what. If you can't get this, don't expect to do it when strangers come over, right? You want to really, really get solid with like not allowing your dog to bark, work on the physical first. Do the physical for a long enough duration until you start to get relaxation, not just for a little bit and then release the dog. Have your dog hold that position while guests come in. Get used to that. When the dog is used to that, that could be a week, that could be a day, that could be a month, that could be 2 months. Then you start to work on other things, right? So what you really need to do Your leash pressure has to be solid. If you can start to remote collar train your dog not to correct, but to teach communication, and then later on get into things, you're gonna be in a little bit of a better position. Your dog has to also not be chaotic when you're coming in the house, when your girlfriend or your boyfriend's coming in the house. I'm not sure what we're looking at here. When your kids are coming in the house, all those things, practice that. Can't be excited when it's time to work for their food, or actually, I don't want to put it that way, but when you're preparing their food, they shouldn't be like bonkers. Have them hold a place. Have them work on impulse control. All of these things, all of these behaviors, if you guys haven't noticed, it's the same stuff. Whether it's aggression, whether it's fear, whether it's separation anxiety, it's dogs that lack impulse control. That's why so many people would struggle with their dog if they come to New York City, even like trainers, because they don't work on this stuff, right? You guys got to work on this stuff. Distraction of the nose, the eyes, and the ears. Those are the three main distractions, or three senses that all distractions are going to fall under, okay? Ilish Jimbu. Hey, what's up? I got a black lab, and when I close my door to my room, he starts scratching it, trying to come in. How can I get him to stop doing that to the door? Thanks in advance. Same thing. This is all the same. All three questions are the same. Impulse control. Your dog, you're dealing with anxiety, right? There are other little things, other little signs of where your dog is being anxious that you're letting go, and then you expect your dog to just chill out. So one, we should be crate training the dog. The dog should learn how to do that. If your dog is struggling there, crate train the dog. Crate train and make that a regular exercise, because that's the same behavior, the struggle that you're gonna start to see, thinking, oh, this is getting worse. That's the same thing. Now you're just starting to challenge it, right? So when I started working out, my shoulders are really bad. And there were a lot of things that I could do and a lot of things that I couldn't do. And because we were challenging a certain area, it seemed like my workouts and everything, my form and everything was getting worse. The reality was I just wasn't challenging those parts of my muscles, and trying to strengthen my back to get better posture, which actually works on my lower abs, all these like little things. And I looked like a little biatch because I couldn't do exercises that other people could do, right? Because we're working on it, it's now getting better, but it sucked, right? And it still sucks, but it's getting better. So that's what you need to work on. Stop allowing your dog to be anxious in a lot of other areas. Work on that impulse control and really, really get that solid. We have a ton of Periscope videos, a ton of Facebook videos, a ton of Instagram videos. All of this right now is impulse control. Impulse control of wanting to play with me, pet me, play with each other, wanting to eat my food. Some dogs here who are dog aggressive, human aggressive, who want to probably attack one another, you know what I mean? People that are walking by, other people that are dogs that are human aggressive, that want to bark and lunge at people walking by. The reason I do this is not to show off, well, maybe just a little bit, but most of it is because this is training, right? This is not what we do all day, but this is training. Like, these dogs are gonna hold this position throughout the entire show, right? So you guys gotta get here. You guys have one dog, you gotta be able to do this stuff. And it starts little by little. Watch our live Periscope sessions. We show you how to get relevance with your dog and how to work on this. You think your dog is anxious acting like that, this is probably this one, and that one over there, 3 of the most anxious dogs you'll ever come across, and they don't seem it right now. That's actually what they're here for. Same thing with, I guess you can qualify all of them if you really think about it, right? That's what you got to do, man. You got to work on that. 2 hounds, 2 horses. Hey, Blake, I have a coon hound who likes to bay loudly at other dogs on the walk. I have him to the point where he can walk past dogs and yards and invisible fences quietly, just not leashed dogs. That's interesting. He used to bay at squirrels and other wildlife, but slowly getting better with that, with treats as a distraction. I'll be transitioning to a prong collar shortly from the harness. Should I try that compressed air tool that you use once he starts barking? Okay. This actually probably reminds me more of the dog, the new dog, Muffin, who has that tendency to kind of bark. Sometimes you can't just go into correcting because the dog doesn't have the understanding of that. So if a startle or a correction puts you at risk of having more, what's the word I'm looking for? Like intensified, like barking and stuff like that. Then what you need to be doing is You need to work on leash pressure, and when you change directions, these little pops, cueing in a certain sound with that. If you're getting really good with the leash pressure, you can start to cue in a little bit of air just to distract, because like the treats are good to create a pattern and a focus, but ideally if your dog is barking and getting worked up like that, you're dealing with a dog that's getting worked up. So food's just teaching the dog to be worked up at something else. So you can calmly work on like positioning and stuff, but like realistically in like real world situations, you don't want to have to always carry food on you in order to negotiate with your dog, right? So if you're using food to shape habits, you want to start to use some type of negative reinforcement, eventually some type of positive reinforcement to follow through and discipline. Say, no, don't do that. Once a dog knows what they can do and that there's an alternative choice, you can disagree and say, do this instead. Nope, do this instead. Before you get into that, make sure the language that you're saying do this instead with, whether it's pet convincer, whether it's a prong collar, whether it's verbal, whether it's a nope, whatever it is, a physical touch, make sure the dog is already familiar with that language, okay? Anything you want to add to that?
No, probably just don't wait for the explosion so much.
Oh, that's another thing too, yeah. Stop waiting for the explosion, right? Your dog is hey, your dog is getting worked up to that point. Focus more on getting the dog to have their head in the direction of what you are doing. This is your time to be selfish. Nope, we are doing this, right? No ifs, ands, and buts about it. This is what we are doing, right? Hey, good. This is what we are doing. And if your dog is allowed to kind of be over here, you're kind of allowing and waiting for that explosion. So if you're waiting to correct an explosion or correct that behavior, you're gonna have to be way more harsh than you probably need to be if you just catch a little signs and give your dog like kind of like that warning, saying, no, just stay focused on this. Like, this is about to happen. I see it too. Don't worry about it. Focus on this, and don't allow them to get worked up. That's like, so Andrew's the cameraman back here, and we're going to an event, let's say across the street at the bar, and it's for a charity, and I donated $1 million. And I say, Andrew, listen, I donated $1 million. This charity is for the kids. I really, really want you to understand why we're going there. The reason I'm telling you this is because your girlfriend is there, the one that broke up with you, the one that cheated on you. She is there with that guy. I do not want you to get into a fight with this guy. This is about the kids, right? So I gave him that warning, and then we get there and we get to the bar, and he hasn't really done anything, but he's sitting at the bar, and I can see him across the bar just grilling them. He hasn't done anything. At that point, it's really easy for me to give him a tap and probably not even say anything, just look at him, you know, like, are you kidding me? Or like really, dude? You know, and it's so soft because I already have the dog in a state of mind where we've set them up for success. If I wouldn't have told them prior, I probably would have had to interrupt or intervene with much, much more, if that makes sense, right? So, that would be my advice. You also really want to start working on, like, if you want to get refocus drills, you can do a lot of soft stuff with getting the dog really solid on recall. Like, going to basics is what's going to set you up for real world situations, and teaching your dog recall, getting your dog remote collar trained, and understanding how to switch them from a long line to that, and have your dog see something but then feel that you're calling them a tap on the shoulder, and being more excited to do that than that. It's a really, really cool way to kind of switch that up. Carlo, hi Blake, how can I work the trust of my dog in herself and with me? How can you establish that? Are there exercises for that? How long is correct for a dog staying in place? What can I do with my dog if she is staying in place for a moment and then gets off? Thanks for all, Blake. Hey, what's up, Carlos? Good to see you on here and on Periscope. Okay, so when we first teach a dog place, we do it in a way where we're doing it almost like from a trick-based point of view. We're not expecting any duration. We're teaching a dog. And if you watch on Periscope, I'm pretty sure you have, we've taught sending there, YESing the dog, sending there and yesing the dog, sending there and yesing the dog, and getting the dog familiar with going there and coming off, going there and coming off. Then we teach the marker good, which is almost like a stay, keep doing what you're doing, and then I'll feed while the dog is on there, feed while the dog is on there. Take a step back, good, walk over and feed. Take 2 steps back, good, walk over and feed. and teach the dog how to get used to doing that. Once that's in place and that's kind of set, then what I do is I have the dog learn how to do it for a long enough duration, and we set them up on tools assuming that they're gonna make a mistake, because that mistake is opportunity. It's not a setback, it's opportunity to say, yeah, I know you reached your breaking point when you decided that you wanted to do something else, and I'm here to tell you that when we do it this way, you need to stay until. So it doesn't mean that you're gonna be placing your dog for 5 hours the first time. It might start with 5 seconds. It might start with 5 minutes. It might start with the commercial interview between your favorite show. It might end up being your favorite 30-minute show, then your favorite hour show, then you're watching Titanic and Django back to back, which is like 5 hours, and you're doing that, but you slowly build that, right? That's very, very important. So exercising using markers are important, and just real world exercises. Your dog holds a place while you're brushing your teeth, then you release. Your dog holds a place while you're making your sandwich and you're eating it, then you release. Your dog holds a place while you are watching your favorite show on TV or doing your homework or answering emails, all those things. But don't have your dog naked with nothing on. Have your dog on a long line and a collar that you use, and the dog is familiar with that language, so you can nope and interrupt and give relevance to those markers, right? So you want to set yourself up for success in the event that your dog makes a mistake, because that's where the money is, right? It almost sucks when you don't see your dog make an error that you want to be clear that they can't do that. So that way what happens if you don't practice it and they happen to make it, man, we've never worked on that, right? So you don't want to set your dog up for failure, but you want to be ready for when they make that little error so you can coach them through that and show them to do otherwise, right? If you're working on this for a week, a minimum you should be able to hold an hour, a 30-minute place. After a week of training it, you should be able to hold a 30-minute place command for sure. These guys, this show's probably going to be 30 minutes and they're all chilling out. Solo smiles. Hi Blake, thanks for answering my last question. You rock. I'm currently working with my dog on a prong. Our walks are getting better and better, but sometimes he will still try to lunge when he's super fearful of strangers or when he sees a squirrel, super prey drive, just like my dog. He'll feel the pressure on the prong and will make a choice to stop. It's actually an attempt to lunge. Okay, so your pressure release has to get better. If your dog is going against pressure stopping and you're shutting off, there's a disconnect with your follow through. You have to follow through a little bit better. So it's actually an attempted lunge when he stops. Is that enough of a correction? Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, is he still doing it? Then if the answer is yes, then it's probably not enough of a correction. If the dog is correcting himself and it's not actually being corrected, then it's not a correction, right? Applying more pressure. Ideally, if your dog is trying to stop and shut down, you want to catch it just before, and you really want to teach your dog. It's like when you apply pressure, the only thing that shuts that off is the dog's choice to walk toward that. If that's not clear, then you're going to bump into these issues. So you really have to be aware of the direction that your pressure is going in so that you can help the dog to be successful. When you're turning and you're making a U-turn, guide the dog into making a U-turn rather than pulling the dog back. Dog is over here before they actually shut down. Get the dog where they need to be, and when you feel a little bit of movement, shut pressure off so they realize that there is a way to shut that off, right? A lot of times dogs resist because they know that's the only thing that works for them. So that's what I would suggest for you. Caddy Too Fast. Hi Blake, love the scopes you've been putting there. Appreciate it. You've been watching us on Periscope. Awesome. I think everyone agrees that introduction of e-collar to dog training was a game changer since dogs realize that distance is not an advantage anymore. I strongly feel the same could be said for training with a baby monitor camera or with baby monitor cameras, since dogs would realize that your presence or lack of it is not a factor either. Yet I don't see anybody really using it too much. Do you have any experience with use of this type of technology in your training? I'd like to incorporate it in my place training. Think a dog would stop breaking command, or thinking a dog would stop breaking command just because the handler is out of sight. Okay, I see what you're saying. How would the process of correction play out in this scenario? Okay, so I've done this before. Before I started training dogs here, I was doing a lot of in-house stuff and also having dogs at my place. And we had drop cams. Only thing is you have to be very, very aware of the delay for drop cams. A lot of people that have houses can walk out of their house and kind of look through a window with the dog not being aware. When you're getting into this type of stuff and you're doing this type of remote collar work, The only thing that you kind of want to separate, if you're worried about dogs doing things when you're not away, you don't want that correction to actually come from you. So this is a little bit advanced if you're going to do this stuff. This is what we would refer to as like a superstitious correction, which is the same stuff that they do for rattlesnake aversion, right? The correction comes out of the sky or might actually be that thing that they were going to do so they know how to stay on there. You really want to have a good foundation. You don't want to overdo it. You got to know where your dog is, and your dog is already having success staying on prior to doing that. But you can totally, I've never used a baby monitor because the baby monitors have video also. Is that just, you've used, Andrew's used our security cameras with Samson for working on place because he has a very nose-driven, he's very nose-driven, so he'll hold a place, and then when we leave to go work a dog downstairs or something, Samson will kind of look, and then he's like, well, I'll go back to place in a second, but I really want that kibble over there that's on the floor, and he'll like try to go take it. My dog kind of does the same thing because we don't work on it so much. It's almost for us, we don't care, but in this context, but it is something that you want to train. So I think drop cams are fantastic. You just got to be aware of the delay. That way you can work a remote if you're at that level for sure. Yeah, you can totally interrupt them, and you can do it in a way where you say nope, or you get them solid to kind of understanding that when they feel that tap, it'll actually inhibit behavior, and then make sure that tapping kind of goes off, or you can kind of pulse or hold until a dog feels, and if the dog knows it, they go, oh, I know what to do. That's because you're not shocking a dog into compliance. You're like, oh, I know what to do. I back on. Okay, so the rules still apply even when the referee is gone, right? So it's like teaching kids in a classroom that you still expect them to be seated politely when the principal calls a teacher into the office. You don't expect them to get up and start playing tag, right? So naturally, kids are going to try that. They're going to test. They're going to do that just like dogs are. So you do hear her snoring? Yeah. So yeah, catching it a couple times will usually kind of set that tone, and you'll be good from there. Iron Shamrock. Hey Blake, I have a 1.5-year-old cattle dog mix who is quite fearful but not aggressive. I just introduced her to a prong collar 4 days ago, and she has gone from being constantly nervous, ADHD on walks, and pulling to pretty calm, even passing strangers. Wow, that's pretty awesome, man. Other dogs with little to no problem. The problem lies when there is something on the sidewalk area where we're walking through like boxes, trash bins, shopping carts. She's very apprehensive, and even with the prong, won't go past them at all. We have to go around, or if I try to give her small leash pops to keep her in here, she freaks out. Any idea how to work through this? It's as if, okay. So this is what I'm gonna say. It's kind of a little bit natural. Like, dogs are creatures of pattern, so they know. Like, my dog is like fearless. If like somebody was attacking me or my wife or something, even if he was scared of it, he's like ready to go at it, right? But at the same time, if we walk down the same block and all of a sudden there's a trash can blowing in the wind, it's awkward. It stands out. That's why a lot of like nervous, aggressive dogs end up lunging at the old like Chinese man in the walker, or like the elderly person with the cane, or the person with the umbrella. They stand out from the rest of the crowd, right? So dogs are kind of almost like genetically designed to spot the things that stand out for a number of reasons that go back to what they were originally bred for. Dogs, they just spot things that are not ordinary, right? So when we're looking at this, you have to do a couple things. You can't just high drive and remote and power your dog through it, or try to leash your dog, or try to do that and then have your dog freak out and you shut off pressure and you go, okay, we're not gonna do that, and letting your dog know that it works. So you wanna kind of keep your dog below threshold to let your dog go wide if you need to a little without them pulling on the leash. So find that proximity, that distance, where you can walk by without tension on the leash. That's what you wanna do, even if that's farther away. And little by little, you walk back and forth. You get your dog closer. You might get your dog to kind of smell and get curious and take your time. You can work on this in a lot of different ways, but take your time with it. And then eventually, when you do teach your dog to go through, you can pair with a little remote and leash and show them, listen, I'm not gonna pull you toward that thing. I have no interest in doing that, but I need you to walk by me this way. And I might start a little bit away, but you're going to do this. So if we gotta slow it down, we'll do that. What's up?
Somebody was talking about trust exercises, things in life like that are basically like big trust exercises. And also the important thing is that having the dog realize, I know you're scared of this, but you have to listen to what I'm saying. Whatever pressure is going on, it's important that the dog listens to that over whatever they want.
Yeah, it's a great point. So what Andrew said is that we got to just have you mic'd up next time, just for things like this, because it was well said. I don't know if I can like do it justice repeating it. But he basically said that, see, like I already forgot. It's really, really important that when you're using these tools, the dog understands, because these are trust exercises. This goes into establishing trust. One thing I want to say real quick is if your dog's not treadmill trained, little objects and things like that, getting your dog to hop on certain placemats that are weird to balance on or a little bit awkward, those are trust exercises, right? So that's kind of what you want to work on. So Andrew was saying, when you're dealing with that stuff, in order to get a dog to trust you, you have to know that if you're going to say something or you're going to have him do something, you're fair about it, but you're also saying, listen, I understand that you're afraid. I get it. I see it. I'm not going to be frustrated with that, but when I'm telling you to do this, I need you to do it. I know what's best. You're not going to get hurt, and I'm going to make sure that I'm not pushing too much, but if you're going to push, make sure that when you're applying any type of pressure, remote, leash, body, whatever it is, that you follow through to a point that you need that's fair, where the dog understood that, okay, they did have to make some sort of progress before that stopped. And that's how you start getting this give and take relationship where the dog goes, okay, I'm nervous, but I can trust you because you pushed me before, nothing bad has happened. Okay, I'll do this, and good job. And if you use markers and the dog understands that with the markers and stuff, you can reward and then keep moving, and you push for a little bit more as time goes on. All right? Good? Okay. And the last question is from Jay Chidago, or JC Hidalgo. I don't know. Hi, Blake. I'm really 1.4. Your 1.5-year-old German Shepherd has had a problem with going with anyone else. When she's with me, she panics and pulls until I have the leash. Hey. Until I have the leash. She also barks at everyone that comes near me. If I'm not fine, or if I'm not there, she's fine. I wonder if I could do something more. I have an educator collar, and it helps with the barking and jumping on people. What else should I be doing? I wish I had the time and money to bring her to you. Start saving. I'm doing lots of reading of training books, fantastic, but nothing seems to pick at this problem. She's a fast learner and medium energy. Okay, so we have a good advantage. Couple things. If you're using the remote collar only to correct, only for this is what you should do first, only like you're teaching this dog, you need to kind of backtrack and take your time a little bit and go back to basics. Your dog needs to stop hanging around you so much 24/7. Your dog needs to learn how to stay over there and be included while someone else comes here. The initial problem is the fact that your dog is allowed to be in these situations, and then you're seeing how the dog takes it. Too much responsibility. The dog is not allowed. The dog has to learn how to cope and tolerate away from you. My dog is over here. He's not over here, right? He's over there. Andrew's dog is over here. He's not over there, placed with him, right? And if they were over with us, it's because they don't struggle when they're not. Your dog that's always on your lap, that's always on the couch, that's always by your feet, does not deserve to be around you. Hold the place over there. My friend, that's a human being, that's my own species, even though you're my good friend, is gonna come sit next to me, right? You're gonna go ahead and take the leash, you're gonna do that. There's too much anxious build-up, anxious, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just the relationship is not healthy. The dog loves you and you love the dog, I get that, but the dog just doesn't know how to do that, so we gotta get everything else better. I don't even know how to explain this. It's
need more than like the dog can't relax without it.
Yeah, the dog can't relax without you, so like you become the drug, right? And we gotta wean the dog off you. It's still gonna love you, but you really gotta do more duration in place and keep the dog away from you. Learn how to do that. Included, we're still gonna do things together, but you gotta learn. If I'm gonna down you over here, I'm gonna go hug my friend, I'm gonna go pet a dog, you're gonna be relaxed, like you're gonna hang out. Someone's gonna come over, you're gonna stay on place over there. You're not gonna down next to me. That's not being a good boy or being a good girl. You're gonna be over there. Start working on that, and then when that progresses and is really well, we can take it to the next step and you can kind of continue with that question, but you gotta get there first. Very, very, very important. Guys, that wraps it up. One thing I am gonna ask, Andrew, could you take a picture, even if you're gonna cut this, and move the camera a little closer or something? I just want it to be like a good shot. Yeah, because it was so far away, you couldn't even see it.
Oh, man.
It was a horrible photo.
This guy's so picky.
Not picky at all.
I'm not gonna put the camera in.
Huh? Thank you. All right, see you guys for episode 19 in a couple days, actually.